meteorologist-ashley-cade.com.
Fighting for the people of Kentucky. Call Minter Vines today.
Now on Good Morning Kentucky, an escaped inmate from Ohio finally caught in Kentucky. Plus, funeral arrangements announced for mother and daughter found murdered last week. And the Fayette County Board of Education has approved a working budget.
Time for Good Morning Kentucky on ABC 36 News Now.
Good morning, Kentucky. Thank you for starting your Tuesday morning with us. I'm Sydney St. Clair. It is 6 a.m. A lot of news to get to, but we're going to begin with weather with meteorologist Ashley-Cade. Gosh, I just look at that radar and I go silent because I don't really know what to say.
I know, it's kind of a mess right now, and it's a little bit hard to, look at and tell what's going on because there's just a lot. And we've had a lot of rain yesterday. I mean, my rain gauge at my apartment, it picked out about 1.5 inches just yesterday. We've gotten a lot of rain and we still have a lot more in the forecast ahead for us. So let's try and look and break down what's going on in this radar view. Definitely looking a little bit messy here. We've got some green showing up, in places like Lexington, Richmond, over near Louisville. I think a lot of that just ground clutter are going to be low-level clouds, maybe a little bit of some light drizzle for the most part, where we're seeing some heavier rainfalls between Somerset and Campbellsville. We're definitely getting some of that, and even some lightning still down near Monticello. We got a couple of little cells, a few pockets of some heavy rainfall. And then between London and especially close to Hazard, we're definitely seeing a bigger area of some light rainfall, a few pockets of heavier rainfall as well. South of Moorhead, we're also seeing that a little bit. A lot of this is going to be pushing out of our area over these next couple of hours. But for now, those areas that I highlighted, definitely still dealing with rain this morning. We're feeling pretty soggy for us. Those of us that aren't dealing with rain, likely dealing with some limited visibility due to some patchy, dense fog, especially near Frankfort, Williamstown. I know there's a little bit in Lexington, even though that monitor is still showing 10 miles of visibility. I saw fog driving into work, so some low-lying areas, mountain valleys, river valleys, could be dealing with that. Definitely starting to see some dense fog creeping closer to Kentucky, although a lot of it right now staying in Indiana. They've even got dense fog advisories up there. We don't see that here though, so I'm giving us the yellow light. Might need to take it a little bit slow out on the road, especially if you run into some of those showers and thunderstorms, especially if it's heavier rain or if you run into that patchy, dense fog. Overall, just a few things to keep in mind for this morning, but it's not too bad. We do still have lots of rain ahead though in that full forecast, but for now, we'll take a check of traffic from the Right Way Auto Glass Traffic Center. Here's a look at Georgetown and Citation. Not really. We got a couple of cars out there. It's looking a little bit wet. The road's still wet. Maybe a little bit of some fog or haze. Overall, just keep in mind those are a few things that you might run into as you head out the door and start your Tuesday.
Following breaking news, an escaped inmate from Ohio on the run in Kentucky for more than a week has been caught. According to the FBI, 48-year-old Jerry Cooper was arrested in the Louisville area last night. The FBI says Cooper was arrested with the help of multiple law enforcement agencies, including from Mason County in northeastern Kentucky, where the sheriff's office says 2 other people are now facing charges for allegedly driving Cooper to Louisville. As we've reported, state police say Cooper and another inmate escaped from the Brown County Detention Center in Ohio on September 15th. Investigators say they broke through a window, ran to the Ohio River, stole a boat, and crossed over into Kentucky. The second inmate was caught the next day in Mason County. According to the FBI, Cooper was in jail awaiting trial for his alleged role in a murder-for-hire case. Continuing coverage now, funeral arrangements have been announced for mother and daughter found murdered last week in Rowan County. According to their obituaries, 2 visitations will be held for 13-year-old Kennedy McWhorter and her mother, 37-year-old Kayla Blake. The first is Friday night from 6 until 9 at Malone Funeral Home in Grayson. The second is Saturday morning beginning at 9, followed by the funeral at noon. As we reported, state police say the 2 were found dead last Friday morning inside their home on South Spring Street in Moorhead. According to KSP, the suspect, 44-year-old Joshua Cottrell, is being held at the McCracken County Jail in western Kentucky on a $1 million cash bond. In Lexington, a suspect accused of shooting a man in the head near a bus stop has pleaded not guilty in court. According to court records, John Tay Mattingly entered a not guilty plea over Zoom from the Fayette County Detention Center yesterday. He's accused of shooting a man in the head last Thursday morning near a bus stop on Winburn Drive and McCullough Drive. Police say the victim was taken to UK hospital in critical condition. Mattingly is due back in court for a preliminary hearing on September 29th. In Whitley County, an investigation continues this morning after a deadly motorcycle crash. State police say it happened yesterday morning on I-75 northbound at mile marker 13 near Williamsburg. According to investigators, 48-year-old Scott Zinski died after he lost control of his motorcycle, went off the road, and crashed into a wooded area. In Laurel County, the investigation continues after a house and multi-vehicle fire last week. According to officials, it happened early Friday morning at a home on Ferriston Road near London. Crews say when they arrived, the house and several cars outside the home were up in flames after a possible explosion. No word yet if anyone was hurt. In Lexington, the Fayette County Public School Board of Education has approved a working budget after a $16 million budget shortfall. The board voted last night 3-2 to approve a $1 million budget for the next fiscal year, with the request that Superintendent Dr. Demetrius Liggins work on a plan to restore the contingency fund to 6%. Last week, members voted on steps for a possible external audit. Meanwhile, community members are still asking for transparency.
In order for me to truly trust the results of such an audit, it would require that the entire audit be conducted outside of the entity of FCPS.
Let's demand a forensic audit. Let's support the power of teachers through a collective bargaining agreement. And let's remember this. To repeat what's on the back of many AFT t-shirts, we care, we fight, we show up, we vote.
We, the people of Lexington, whose taxes fund this institution, demand a full forensic external audit of FCPS.
Board members say a special called virtual audit meeting will be held tomorrow morning at 9:30 at the John D. Price Admin Building on Park Place. And Superintendent Dr. Demetrius Liggins and Board of Education Chair Tyler Murphy have released statements in response to calls for their resignations from state lawmakers. Dr. Liggins saying in part, quote, "I have embraced every investigation, examination, and audit to uncover exactly what has gone wrong, determine how long it has been occurring, and take decisive action to ensure it never happens again." Board Chair Tyler Murphy saying in part, quote, "There are multiple pending external and independent reviews, which I welcome and support, focused on finding the facts and developing a clear path forward," end quote. As we reported, Republican Representative Matt Lockett and other lawmakers called for their resignations yesterday, saying they want to see constitutional promises restored in Fayette County. All right, a programming update now. Jimmy Kimmel is returning to late night after his suspension last week from his comments in the wake of the Charlie Kirk shooting. As ABC's Perry Russom reports, his suspension ignited a nationwide debate about political pressure and protecting free speech.
Overnight, Jimmy Kimmel's competitor Stephen Colbert reacting to the news. Kimmel is returning to late night TV.
We got word that our long national late nightmare is over. And plus, now that Jimmy's not being canceled, I get to enjoy this again.
Disney ABC announcing the decision after pausing the show indefinitely following comments Kimmel made last week about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Disney saying, "Last Wednesday we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday." The temporary pause came after FCC Chairman Brendan Carr appeared to threaten action against local broadcasters who aired Kimmel's show.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
Yesterday, Carr denied threatening to revoke the licenses of ABC stations that aired Kimmel's show, saying instead Disney made a business decision to take the comedian off the air.
That takes place between local television stations that are licensed by the FCC and what we call national programmers like Disney. They work that out, and there doesn't need to be any involvement of the FCC.
Sinclair, one of the biggest owners of network TV affiliates, says it still will not air the show despite Kimmel's reinstatement. The company saying discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return.
Perry Russum, ABC News, New York.
Well, your time now is 6:10. Still ahead, Trump is expected to address the United Nations General Assembly today. It comes as France joins several of America's closest allies in formally recognizing a Palestinian state. We have those details straight ahead, but first.
We're looking pretty rainy still, not necessarily during the day today, but this morning and then tonight leading into Wednesday. I've got details on what that's going to look like in our timeline just ahead of my full forecast.
Your 7-day forecast is brought to you by Denham Law Firm, your insurance claim's best friend.
It's the Mini Monsters Cash Frenzy Scratch-Off game. Scan the QR code for another chance to win with the online game. Play today from the Kentucky Lottery.
For more than 3 decades, CSET was our safeguard. It was training, planning, and a promise to protect Madison County families. Thank you, CSET, for keeping our community safe. Now that the program is complete, we carry forward the lessons, partnerships, and strength it built. Preparedness isn't just about emergencies. It's about public safety, health, and resilience. I'm Reagan Taylor, Madison County Judge Executive, and I want to encourage our residents to register for emergency alerts today. Together, our future is built on preparedness.
There's a reason cops make exceptional DJs.
Freeze! Everybody put your hands in the air. Yeah!
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
At Brakes for Less, you get more for less. How much more? New brake pads on all 4 wheels, resurfaced rotors, a brake fluid top-off, plus a parts and labor warranty, all for as low as $239. Our expert technicians do thousands of brake jobs a week and provide prompt, speedy service. Hurry, schedule your free brake inspection today. Less waiting, less stress, less cost. Brakes for Less gives you more for less.
I was born with a sunny disposition, but I had so much knee pain and foot pain. I wasn't that way anymore. I didn't know what to do. But then I'm driving down the street one day and my knee's hurting, and I see a Good Feet store. I thought, what do I have to lose? Once I got my arch supports from Good Feet, I just went back to being my happy self again. My wife noticed it, my friends noticed it, even my dog noticed it. I just wish that I'd found Good Feet 20 or 30 years ago. I've got my Sonny back.
While medicine's greatest advancements look like the latest sci-fi, one of our most powerful tools is far more simple, more human. It's a calling to connect with purpose. That's how we're evolving healthcare, by treating people, not just patients, with innovations that amplify healing and lead to more personalized care, guided by the belief we all hold the power to heal.
Everybody knows that for over 20 years, North Broadway Auto Sales has been the best place to buy a used car. You know the slogan, at North Broadway Auto, everybody rides. But what you may not know is North Broadway Auto Sales also buys cars. If you have a car, truck, van, or SUV and it's in running condition, we want to buy it. Any automobile, any make, any model, any year, any color. At North Broadway Auto Sales, if it runs, we want it. On New Circle Road, North Broadway Auto Sales, 293-2353.
All right, Ashley, for people maybe getting up and getting ready to head out to work or maybe already on the road, what can they expect so far?
Definitely expecting a little bit of rain. Some areas have been able to stay dry for this morning, but others going to be a little wet for the morning commute. We'll kind of look at the radar. It's a little bit messy to look at. There's a lot going on Viper radar, but like I mentioned, a few areas are actually able to stay dry, mainly near Lexington and Richmond. We're actually looking pretty dry, maybe a few sprinkles. Some of this green over Lexington in that area could maybe be some lower level clouds, some sprinkles, but I think a lot of that probably just ground clutter being picked up. Like a lot of this dull green around the Louisville radar, that's not actually rain, but what we are seeing with rain between Campbellsville and Somerset and down near Monticello, between Monticello and Williamsburg, looking at some pockets of heavy rainfall, and overall a lot of that bright green. That's going to be just some light drizzle near Pikeville, Hazard, Jackson, definitely seeing that. Moorhead, even if we're near Ashland, seeing a little bit of that rainfall. So some areas gonna have to grab the umbrella as you're heading out the door because we're definitely looking to be a little bit on that wetter side. As we make our way through the day, though, that's not necessarily going to be the case. You might want to grab the umbrella heading out the door if you are in one of those areas. But as we head into this afternoon or late morning, we're looking to dry out, not necessarily fully. We will still have lots of cloud cover, could still see some drizzle in a couple of areas. That'll kind of continue through the afternoon where we'll just have some isolated pockets of some light rainfall. As we go into this evening, it's possible we see those clouds clearing and we're able to get some sunshine. That's going to allow our atmosphere time to recover. Now, this is going to be key to what happens tomorrow, because if we see clouds clearing early on and we're able to get that atmospheric energy just recovering, then we might be able to see some storms tomorrow strengthening, because we are expecting storms to move through. That'll be late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Much like we saw yesterday, we've got another round of storms that's going to move through a little bit later in the day, looking like late morning to early afternoon for that. If we see cloud cover sticking around today and that atmosphere not able to recover, a lot of those storms going to stay more on that mild side, not going to be able to strengthen as much. But if we can see that energy, we might see some stronger storms. As we head overnight into from Wednesday night into Thursday morning, going to look very similar to this morning, where we've got a few isolated areas of some heavier rainfall. Overall, some light drizzle to start us off for Thursday. Looking at a few pockets of heavy rainfall as we're heading out the door. Then we're going to see just some light rain through the day Thursday, scattered showers and maybe a few thunderstorms, but not nearly as impressive as we're looking for tomorrow. Especially tomorrow is going to look very similar to what we saw yesterday, where we had lots of rainfall. And in fact, we picked up around an inch of rain yesterday. We could pick up half an inch through the day today, maybe another inch heading through Thursday. I think by the time that this is all said and done and we head towards the end of our week, we'll have picked up an additional 2 to maybe even 3 inches. Add that to what we got yesterday. I think total for this whole week could get nearly 3 to 5 inches depending on where you are. That's a lot of rainfall, and that's beneficial rainfall. We saw that drought increasing, but we do still see a flash flood risk that we're going to be monitoring with that. For today, we're at a level 2 out of 4. Slight risk across the bluegrass, nothing too crazy. Just going to be watching for some ponding in areas. Make sure you keep that in mind. Another thing we're watching, I mentioned this possibility for some stronger storms Wednesday. We are under a level 1 as of right now. We do see maybe the potential for some gusty winds with storms that are able to strengthen again, looking for the potential for flash flooding tomorrow as well as today. Then we're seeing temperatures going to be staying pretty warm in those upper 70s. Will warm up even more into the weekend. The good news is, though, we are looking to dry out earlier yesterday. We were looking at some rainfall for the weekend. Now it's looking dry and warm, so it'll be great to get outside. Then we'll just have to have the umbrellas ready for now.